Hello everybody, my name is Bloody Marshall and welcome back to another video. Now I know you've seen the title of this video and you're probably thinking, Bloody, how the fuck could you defend a guy that's a rapist, pedophile, just transphobic loser? Well, you have to understand me here, alright? Before I get into this topic, when I'm talking about Twomad, I'm talking about a person who has died, a person who is deceased, who cannot defend themselves, who cannot talk, alright? They are currently dead. Now, when I put this into perspective, you have to, realize that people like Jameski, who have come out recently with giant documents, multiple page documents, just ripping apart a person who is dead, it's kind of fucking disgusting. And saying it's just disgusting is kind of an understatement. How would you feel if you died and then immediately after you die, someone comes out and throws all of these accusations against you when you can't even defend yourself? Now look, I'm not denying any of the evidence that Jameski presented in his most recent tweet. I'm not denying anything like that. What I am defending Twomad on is the fact that it is absolutely abhorrent that someone would decide to come out as soon as he died. As soon as he died, when he couldn't say anything. You couldn't say any of this shit when he was still alive. If you really cared about the things that were happening, these so-called rape accusations and stuff like that, if you really cared, would you wait until he dies to say it? Why didn't you say it before? I mean, genuinely, Jameski claimed that Twomad tried to murder him multiple times. Where was any of this when Twomad was making content? Not too long ago, might I add. This isn't old drama. I mean, this is like a couple weeks, alright? It's not really a huge jump, alright? So if someone tried to murder you, why would you wait for them to overdose and die in their room for you to come out and accuse him of all these things? And the most disgusting part about it was Jameski started off his tweet with I can now say it now that he's gone. I mean, imagine that. Imagine waiting for a guy to die before you accuse him. This is the most ridiculous, most retarded thing that has happened in the YouTube community in a very long time. I mean, you can't really compare Twomad's death to too many people in the grand scheme of things, but the very fact that Jameski would even do this is ridiculous. And there's other people, alright? People like Minx who have came out and who have talked about Twomad in a negative light. Even they do not agree with the fact that Jameski has come out after they've died. I mean, it's fucking disgusting. Now, once again, I want this to be a shining light throughout this entire video. I want you to remember this. I want everybody who's watching this to remember this. Twomad, I am not defending anything that Twomad has been accused of and has been proven to have done. Now, if you don't know, Twomad, before he even died, was going through kind of a cancellation. The reason for this was because he used an image of a trans girl who had died after being brutally murdered by her classmates, and he called her hot. And then when people started to get mad and started to tell him, like, hey, this is kind of fucking disgusting, why would you say that? He said that he didn't know. Now, you have to keep in mind, now, this is Twomad. This is Twomad that we're speaking about. Twomad is known to be a complete fucking troll, and you never know when he's taking things seriously, and you never know when he's being jokey. I mean, I'm pretty sure by default, the dude is naturally just a jokey type of person. This is more than a joke. I mean, for me, it's not really anything huge. I've seen worse on the internet, but for the vast majority of the people who browse on Twitter, this is something that is completely unforgivable, which I understand. Now, Jameski also accused him of being a pedophile and a rapist. And this brings me back to my point previously. If all of this happened while he was still alive and he knew about it, why the fuck was he silent? Why was he silent about all of this happening? Why did he have to wait for Twomad to die? Was Twomad that fucking scary? I mean, he's a fat black dude. Is he that fucking scary? I mean, if you have all of this information and you withheld it until he died and then you brought it out, what the fuck do you expect people to do about it? Do you expect people to just trample on his grave? Is that what he wanted his end result to be? For people to start making fun of Twomad after he died? Was that like his goal? Because if that wasn't his goal, what was? It wasn't to get him prosecuted, obviously, because if he wanted to get him prosecuted, if he wanted him to be brought to justice, if he wanted him to go to jail, go to prison, then why would you wait? Why would you wait for him to die so that he can't go to fucking jail? Did you want them to arrest the fucking corpse? Now, if you don't know, Twomad died of an overdose, like I said earlier. And it took them nearly a week until they threw in a wellness check for somebody to come check if he was even still alive, because nobody had heard from him. And there's been a lot of memes that have been created about Twomad because of the way he died. He was overdosing on possibly ketamine and fentanyl. Of course, these two drugs are fucking horrible, especially for somebody like Twomad, who obviously is not in shape. Not to just trample on his grave right there. That was kind of fucking crazy. But Twomad was playing Overwatch before he died. And of course, a lot of memes have been created. I mean, I expected that. This is the fucking internet we're talking about. And I knew as soon as people heard that he was playing Overwatch before he died, it was going to be the laughingstock of the fucking century. It was going to be something to remember for 2024. And Twomad was playing Overwatch, and he overdosed and died while playing the game. And there's people who have made memes about like his stat lines and how many kills he had. Apparently he was playing tank, but that has nothing to do with anything we're talking about right now. But the police would arrive at his home and found him essentially rotting after being there for 5 days, nearly to a week. And they didn't have no fucking idea what happened until a little sooner after that, when they found out that he, of course, was on heavy amounts of drugs. Not to mention, on top of that, this guy was most likely mentally ill. I mean, if you've ever watched a Twomad stream, or not even a Twomad stream from the past, watch one of his streams before he died. I know that sounds kind of fucking crazy, but you'll see what I mean. The dude definitely wasn't the same as he usually is, and he was definitely, as I said before, on heavy amounts of drugs. But I also think that he was definitely mentally ill. And that's not to excuse anything that he did or anything he was accused of, but you have to look at it in his perspective. If you have this mindset where you're like, oh, he did all this bad stuff, even though all of these so far are genuinely just accusations. Like, seriously, there's no criminal investigation that's gonna happen. But with that being said, once again, you have to look at this with Twomad's perspective, alright? If you look at it with James Ski's perspective, if you look at it with any other person's perspective, you're not going to get the full information. You're not going to fully understand what really happened. What I think, and this is a verdict, what I genuinely think, honest to God truth, I think that Twomad was a mentally ill drug addict, and I think that his life was not going the proper way. And I think it all changed once he moved to LA. Imagine that. LA, the drug-infested fucking anarchy city on planet Earth. Just remember that Twomad was mentally ill, and he was a drug addict. But once again, it does not excuse anything he's accused of immediately, but I also don't think it proves anything that James Ski or anybody else has accused him of. Because at the end of the day, these things are still accusations. The multi-page document that James Ski dropped was fucking horseshit. The evidence was paper thin, and there was no smoking gun evidence that completely just would change anybody's perspective on Twomad or gave any sort of extreme, here's the verdict, here's the truth type of evidence. Anything like that there's nowhere in the doc. I'd just like to cap this video off by saying I have a new channel. It's called Bloody Shortshal, and as you could imagine by the name, I will be dropping shorts like way more consistent than I drop videos on this channel, of course, because they're a lot easier to do. I'll probably be dropping 3 a day, maybe even, but don't get your hopes up too much, because as much as I love commentary, I do not want to keep doing this when I have like 1 million subscribers. I'm gonna switch to something else because this is fucking horrible. But ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bloody Marshal. If you enjoyed the video, like it. If you dislike the video, dislike it. And I am out.
NATTIE FORSYTH is a commentary channel reporting on trending YouTube drama with a lot of very serious allegations against them. But this isn't the only channel they've had. This channel, the NATTIE one, is